Hello, this is a wearing history tutorial. In this tutorial, we're going to talk about shearing to a stationary stay. That's to have gathering like this that's stationary. They had this in the Victorian era. This is a dress from the John Bright collection. And you can do this with a piece that is stationary. You can also do it with a tape if you just need a little bit, like on this 1910s bodice in half scale. It just controls the fullness and means it won't stretch out, and it stabilizes it. So in place of elastic shearing like we have today, you would use a cotton tape. You could use a rayon seam binding like this. That's not as sturdy, just be forewarned. Or you could use a shaped piece when your pattern has a sort of a base that it needs you to gather to. The long rectangular one there is for a cuff. So on your pattern piece, it will likely have the markings for where you need to pull it in, and it will have a stay piece that you'll attach it to. On this one, you can see I have my stay piece, and on the old patterns, you're really going to want to compare them because a lot of times they didn't add any extra to the outside edges. So if you had seam allowance that you wanted to turn under, you need to add it. This one, I have added the seam allowance here. Just compare the two and see if it'll work for you. Again, this is half scale as well, so it would be double this if I was making it full size. And I'm comparing my turned under piece here to make sure that it will fit. On this pattern, it only has certain lines marked. There's some dots there, 5 on each side, and then you would add your additional gathering between it. This is because this was a perforated pattern, which means there were holes in the pattern piece originally instead of markings. Now on more modern patterns, it'll have lines, so you need to transfer them in the way that you're used to. Here I'm just using a pencil because it doesn't matter if I wash this out, since this is just a sample. Obviously, test the method first to make sure it will come out of your fabric in the wash. Use something like a chalk or a water-soluble pen. Just test it and make sure that it'll come out when you're done. So here I'm drawing my lines. As you can see, these are graduated. So there's a longer line that goes to a smaller line, just like on the piece. It was shaped so that it wasn't rectangular all the way across. Your pattern could have a different type of pattern. It just depends on the shape of the original design. So since this is half scale, I'm only going to do the lines that I've marked. If I was doing it in real life, they were about 1/4 inch apart on this particular pattern. I'm comparing it here again to be like, is it going to fit? Yeah, I need to add some extra. So there's that. Now you pull it in to fit with gathering threads. The gathering threads are going to be the longest stitch on your machine. I'll show that in a second. So here's my sewing machine. On my machine, it's old, so you're going to make sure it's on straight stitch. You're going to turn it all the way up to the top for the biggest stitch length that you have. And on different machines, this is different. Look in your manual to see what you need to do for your particular machine. I sometimes will use my foot as the width for the gathering if I'm not sure, or shearing. I use them interchangeable. Shearing is a series of gathers. Gathering is another type of just pulling in excess on a thread. So I am putting my needle down at my start position here. You turn your wheel of your sewing machine to do this. Put my foot down, and then I start going by following the lines that I've drawn on my pattern. Now it is useful to say that I would mark this on the wrong side of your pattern instead of the right side, and that way if anything fussy happens, then you can make sure it's on the inside instead of the outside of the garment. And obviously if you're doing this mirrored, you will have to mirror your gathering, so don't do them on the same side, or else, it wouldn't be good. So after I've done one, I'm going to speed this up, so I just keep on going, needle down, and then go for it. Do not backstitch at the front or at the back. You need to be able to pull the threads to fit, and make sure you give yourself extra length of thread because you're going to need to be able to grab those to pull the gathering in. There's 5 of them done. I skipped a couple. So there we go, and now I'm looking at it, making sure it's okay. It looks fine. I'm looking at my stay piece, got that. And the next thing is turn under the seam allowance on your stay piece. I forgot to mention your stay can be the same fabric as your final garment, but if it's really bulky, you might want to use something like a organza or an organdy or something lightweight that will not show through to the outside of the fabric. So hold it up and make sure it doesn't show through. Okay, now I'm aligning the piece. On mine, I noticed that the shaping of the gather has the same angle. It's also marked on the piece, like which one is the front. So you're going to follow the shaping of the piece as per your pattern's directions. Right now, I'm pinning it just so I can eyeball what I'm doing here. It also might be beneficial to just baste this edge by hand, and you'll see why as we go on. If I was doing this for real, I would likely hand baste that edge to hold it in place. Now on the other side, I'm grabbing all of my threads and I'm just easing it. You can also, if your thread is like finicky and it wants to break, make sure you just do a couple at a time. This is pretty darn strong thread, so I'm just going for it. Move it towards the center and then grab the other side where you also left little tails of thread. Pull those and you'll see it'll start coming together. Whoop. All right, so now you can see what it's supposed to be looking like, which is pretty cool. I'm going to turn it to the other side and I'm going to align that edge to where the stop lines are. And I'm going to pin that to place, though again I suggest that you hand baste this instead. I'm being lazy because it's a sample. I'm just going to pin that there, and then you'll see me turn the pins around in a future step because I realized I did not want pins on the bottom side of my machine as I'm stitching. That would be cause for a broken needle. Nobody wants that. Okay, now I need to position these gathers. So using your fingers, just wiggle them so that you like the spacing. You don't want them to be shifting to one side or the other side. You really want to ease them all the way across. Sometimes I'll notice that I will have a little bulk on one side of the gathering as opposed to the other side where it almost looks like a fold of fabric. You want to do this as nicely as you possibly can. Also, sometimes I notice that it doesn't really start at the very beginning. It's okay if you have them in like a little bit from where the start lines are, as long as it looks proportionate and it looks like what you want your final garment to look like. So I'm wiggling these in again with my fingers. You don't have to do this quickly, obviously. Go as slow as you want. And it will be more fussy in the more drapey fabric you have. Since this is muslin, it's relatively easy. But if you're doing this in a silk or a rayon or something drapey, have patience with yourself because things like to go a little bit wonky. All right, so now I've pinned it to place. I put a couple pins in there just to help hold it where I want it to go. Now I'm switching those pins to the right side because I'm like, wait, I don't want those facing down. That's not a good idea. So here I'm switching them to the right side. And now for the stitching, you're going to change it back to a short stitch length. Don't use a long stitch length because it will come undone. So back stitch first and then go as straight as you can next to that gathering thread. I've found out firsthand that if you sew right on top of it, it makes it almost impossible to pull out. So if you can go just a teeny little bit to either side of that thread, it really helps pull out the initial gathering threads. Once you're satisfied with the first one, move on to the second one. I do find that if you don't have set gathering lines, that using the width of your foot as the gathering width really helps to evenly space it, because then you just bump the stitch line right up against the foot for the next line and the next line and the next line, and it makes it very straight. Don't be alarmed when it looks like your gathering has wiggled a little bit either way. This is sort of intrinsic in the process. So you just want to straighten them out so it looks as straight as possible on your finished piece. To the end and backstitch. Now I will note that I was doing this behind a very bad camera mount that was right in front of my face, so this wasn't very neat looking, but you can see how the front has the gathering and then you're going to pull out these extra stitch lines from the first time that you stitched it to pull it in. It'll be the bigger stitch length, obviously. And then on the back side, it's stationary. So also don't forget to trim your threads. That's what the back looks like. So it usually would be neater if I could actually see my sewing machine. All right, and that's what it looks like when it's done. So you would do that on the shoulders of this particular pattern, but you can use it anywhere on any garment, and it's really fun because it keeps it where it's supposed to be. Now on this bodice, it's towards the waist because it only wanted gathering towards the waist on the side seams. So they used these stay stitch to a tape like this. This is a narrow tailoring tape that's cotton. All right, that's it. Hope that's very helpful for a visual of how to accomplish this vintage technique. You can find my patterns Wearing History on Etsy and wearinghistorypatterns.com. Thank you.